There's a moment after someone hurts you when you feel like you need closure. You want them to realize what they did. You want them to regret it. And for a lot of people, that means sending a long message, explaining the pain, demanding answers, hoping for an apology. But let me tell you something, the most powerful message you can send is one that shifts the balance of power back into your hands. The person who hurt you isn't losing sleep over your pain. They're not sitting there refreshing their phone, waiting for your text. They've moved on. Or at least they think they have, because people only regret losing someone when they see that person thriving without them. When they realize they were just a chapter in your story, but you've already turned the page. So, what's the one text that will make him regret hurting you? It's not an essay about your feelings. It's not an angry rant. It's not a plea for closure. It's one simple message. I appreciate the lesson. Wishing you the best. That's it. No anger, no bitterness, no desperation. Just a message that says, I've learned, I've grown, and I don't need you anymore. Why is this so powerful? Because it does three things instantly. First, it shows you have self-control. People expect drama, they expect emotion, but when you respond with composure, it forces them to wonder, wait, why isn't she upset? Why isn't she begging for an explanation? And that's when doubt starts creeping in. Second, it puts the final decision in your hands. When someone hurts you, they expect to have the last word, but this message takes that away. It tells them you've already moved forward, and now they're the ones left wondering what happens next. And finally, it removes their ability to hurt you again. Because when you're calm, when you're collected, when you're unbothered, they no longer have control over your emotions. And that's when regret hits them the hardest. When someone hurts you, the first instinct is often to strike back, to make them feel the pain they caused you. You want them to regret their actions, to suffer the way you suffered. But real power doesn't come from revenge, it comes from self-retrove. It comes from the ability to walk away, to rise above, to show that their actions do not define your worth. Because the truth is, the moment you react in anger, you give them control. You let them dictate your emotions, your energy, and your peace. Revenge might feel good in the moment, but it doesn't give you what you really want. It doesn't heal you. It doesn't bring closure. It doesn't change the past. All it does is keep you tied to the pain, reliving it over and over again. True strength is in restraint, in the ability to let go and move forward with dignity. It's in proving to yourself, not to them, that you are bigger than the hurt they caused. Think about the most powerful people in the world. Do they waste their time getting back at those who wronged them? No. They stay focused. They channel their energy into their own success, their own growth, their own happiness. They don't let someone else's actions pull them off course. And that's what you have to do. You have to decide that your future is more important than their mistake. That your peace is more valuable than proving a point. That the best way to make someone regret losing you is not by hurting them back, but by becoming someone they can never reach again. Self-retrol is the ultimate display of power. It says, I don't need to hurt you to heal. I don't need to prove anything to you. I am in control of myself, my emotions, my life. That is what truly unsettles people. When they see that their actions did not break you, that you are thriving despite the pain, that you did not need revenge to move on, that's when they start to regret what they did. Because people expect a reaction. They expect anger. They expect you to chase them, to beg for answers, to make noise. But when you respond with silence, with strength, with unwavering focus, you take away their power. The person who wins in the end is not the one who gets even. It's the one who grows beyond the pain, the one who uses every setback as a stepping stone. The one who doesn't waste time looking back because they're too busy building a future that is so much bigger, so much brighter, that the past no longer matters. That is how you take your power back. That is how you make them regret ever hurting you. And that is how you truly win. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have. When someone hurts you, they expect a reaction. They expect you to be angry, to be broken, to chase after them, demanding answers. They expect their actions to control your emotions. But the most powerful thing you can do is give them nothing. No anger, no sadness, no response. Because when you react, you give them power. You show them that their actions still matter to you, that they still hold a place in your mind. But when you respond with silence, you take all of that power back. People don't regret hurting you when you argue with them. They don't regret it when you cry, when you scream, when you try to make them see what they did. No, they regret it when they realize they no longer have access to you, when they can no longer affect your energy, when they look for a reaction and get nothing. That's when they start questioning themselves. That's when they start wondering if they ever mattered to you at all. Silence forces people to sit with their own actions. When you don't respond, they are left alone with their choices. They have to confront what they did without the distraction of your reaction. And that is far more powerful than any words you could say. Words can be argued with, ignored, or twisted, but silence lingers. Silence makes people uncomfortable. Silence makes them realize they lost something valuable. Think about it. The strongest people in the world don't waste their time proving a point. They don't argue. They don't beg for closure. They don't engage in pointless battles. They simply move on. They build their lives. They become better, stronger, happier. And that is what truly makes people regret losing them. Because regret doesn't come from a heated argument or a well-crafted message. It comes when someone sees that you don't need them, that you are thriving without them, that they no longer have access to your time, your energy, your heart. The best response is no reaction at all. Because when you refuse to engage, you send the clearest message possible: I have already moved on. And that is more powerful than anything you could ever say. The greatest payback isn't revenge. It's not anger. It's not proving them wrong. The greatest payback is confidence. The kind of confidence that makes them realize they never had power over you in the first place. Confidence is what makes people regret losing you. It's what makes them question why they ever let you go. Because nothing is more unsettling than seeing someone you hurt become stronger, happier, and more successful without you. When someone hurts you, they expect you to crumble. They expect you to doubt yourself, to feel lost, to seek validation from them or from others. But when you stand tall, when you keep moving forward, when you refuse to let their actions shake your belief in yourself, that's when the real shift happens. That's when they start to wonder, did I make a mistake? That's when they start to regret what they did, because people regret losing those who don't need them. Confidence isn't about pretending the pain didn't happen. It's about knowing that the pain doesn't define you. It's about recognizing that their actions don't determine your worth. And most importantly, it's about refusing to let their choices dictate your future. The moment you realize that you are in control, not them, is the moment everything changes. Because confidence isn't built on proving something to others, it's built on proving something to yourself. You don't need to post about how well you're doing. You don't need to make a grand statement about moving on. You just need to live your life so fully, so fearlessly, that there's no doubt you are thriving. Confidence is quiet, it's strong, it's unshakable. It's what makes people look back and think, I should have treated them better. The best revenge isn't found in words, it's found in the way you carry yourself, in the way you refuse to let anyone else's actions dim your light. When you walk with confidence, when you show up fully in your own life, when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, that's when they regret losing you, not because you forced them to, but because your growth makes them realize they lost something truly irreplaceable. Regret isn't something you can force. You can't make someone feel sorry for how they treated you. You can't convince them to see your worth. You can't beg them to realize what they lost. The harder you try, the more you push them away. But what you can do is inspire regret, not by chasing it, but by becoming the kind of person they wish they had never let go. People don't regret losing someone because of a long message or a final conversation. They regret it when they see you thriving in a life they are no longer part of. They regret it when they realize that while they stayed the same, you evolved. They regret it when they understand that you were never dependent on them, that it was they who needed you all along. The mistake most people make is thinking that regret happens instantly. That as soon as someone hurts you, they'll wake up the next day and realize their mistake. But that's not how it works. Regret comes slowly. It sneaks up on them when they least expect it. Maybe it's when they see you smiling in a picture, looking happier than ever. Maybe it's when they hear about your success, knowing they weren't there to witness it. Maybe it's when they try to find someone else like you and fail. But none of that happens if you spend your time trying to prove your worth to them. Regret isn't inspired by words, by confrontation, by trying to make them see what they lost. It's inspired by the way you live your life after they're gone. If you become stronger, happier, and more fulfilled without them, that's when they start to realize. That's when they start to wonder if they made the wrong choice. So don't waste your time trying to force regret. Let go of the need for validation. Let go of the desire to prove something to them. Instead, prove something to yourself. Build a life so full, so rich, so undeniably powerful that they can't help but look back and think, I should have never let them go. Not because you forced them to feel that way, but because you inspired it. Simply by becoming the person you were always meant to be. It's easy to get caught up in the pain of someone else's mistake. It's easy to replay their words, their actions, and wonder what you could have done differently. But here's the truth. Their mistake is not your future. Their decision to walk away, betray you, or hurt you does not define what happens next. The only thing that defines your future is you. When someone mistreats you, it's natural to want closure, to want them to see the pain they caused. But the reality is, waiting for their apology or their regret only keeps you stuck. The longer you focus on what they did, the longer you delay your own growth. And here's what most people don't realize. The moment you stop looking back is the moment you start moving forward. Your future is bigger than their mistake, because your life is not meant to be controlled by someone else's choices. The opportunities ahead of you are far greater than the heartbreak behind you. The version of yourself you're becoming is so much stronger than the version they left behind. And the best part? They don't get to be a part of it. Success is the best response. Not to prove anything to them, but to prove something to yourself. That you were always capable, always worthy, always enough. When you shift your focus from them to you, everything changes. Instead of thinking, why did they do this to me? You start thinking, what can I do for myself? Instead of asking, will they ever regret it? You start asking, how can I build a life so good I won't even care if they do? One day they might look back and realize they lost something irreplaceable, but by then it won't even matter to you. Because you'll be too busy living a life that's bigger, fuller, and more meaningful than any apology they could ever offer. Their mistake is just a chapter. It is not your whole story. And the story ahead of you, it's going to be bigger, bolder, and more powerful than anything you've left behind. So don't waste your time trying to make him feel bad. Don't send paragraphs explaining your worth. Instead, show it. Show it in your silence. Show it in your success. Show it in the way you carry yourself with confidence. Because at the end of the day, the best revenge isn't proving him wrong, it's proving yourself right. It's becoming the kind of person who doesn't need validation, doesn't need closure, doesn't need an apology to move forward. And one day, when he realizes what he lost, when he sees you becoming everything he didn't appreciate, when he watches you rise without him, that's when he'll regret hurting you. But by then, it won't even matter. Because you'll already be on your way to something better.